as well. This was a daughter of
And then April, but I'll be here. Unless.
Oh, that's mine.
Has Dave been working?
Good evening, everybody. Before we get started, I'd like to take a minute and thank the fire department for letting us use their hall and staff for moving all of our equipment down here and getting everything set up. So thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to call this February 1st, 2022 meeting to order. Would you please rise for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Kliskevich.
Here.
Ms. Lloyd.
Here.
Ms. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Seitz.
Here.
Mr. Strom.
Here.
Ms. Willenbecker.
Here.
Mr. Redinger.
Here.
All present.
Joining us this evening is Representative Mahaffey, who's going to be presenting the borough flag. Would you please come forward?
Mayor Curry, President, Dean Redinger, Borough Council, thank you. It's been a while since I've been able to get out to come here, and I know usually I try to get here every 2 years. Unfortunately, COVID has stumped that. And I wanted to present you guys with the Pennsylvania flag tonight. We're also quite proud of you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. At this time, we also have a presentation. Mr. Seitz.
Yes, State Representative Mahaffey and County Commissioner Priest, if you guys can come forward as well. As they're coming forward, this evening we're going to recognize the Middletown icon. Tom Foreman has spent the past 25 years of his life serving the community as EMA director, and he has dedicated the last 55 years of his life to the Middletown Volunteer Fire Department in various capacities. And in this evening, we also have his son, Michael Foreman, in attendance, and we'd like to recognize you for your efforts, and I believe Mr. Representative Mahaffey and Commissioner Freeze have comments.
Good. Thanks. Thank you.
We just had my letter.
You're wonderful. Yeah, you're all right. We're not running.
No.
Well, Tom, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the community, but also thank you to the district for what you do, because there's a lot of things that I see you outside of Middletown. And you're very involved in the community, but also involved here at the firehouse. For 55 years, I think, in many different positions here in the firehouse. But your volunteer for that many years is just unbelievable. And it is. It's a selfless dedication that you put forth for those many years. Now, I want to know, when did you start as a firefighter? Because you must have been like 2 or 3.
7 years.
But 7 years old?
We didn't have that 7.
No,
60.
Early 60s, okay. I thought you were two, but I was close. You know, I know you brought Michael out when he when he was very, very young. What did you say, Mike? Age 3? Probably the day before, right. For 25 years as EMA director, I mean, the last 2 years, as I spoke before, it has been a tough 2 years here. Through the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, and going through what you need to do just for your firefighters, and as far as Borough Council goes, and all the workers here, I mean, that's something that's very, very special, and I think you should be extremely proud of what you do and how you've handled yourself over these last 25 years. But the dedication you've done for the district, for the borough, I truly appreciate that. So I'd like to present you tonight with a certificate and also a Pennsylvania flag. And it's also, there's a certificate in there for you, but I'd just like to say an appreciation of your unwavering commitment to the citizens of Middletown. From serving as EMA director for 25 years, in numerous positions within the volunteer fire company for the past 55 years, your selfless dedication to the community is praiseworthy and unmatched. Although it does not capture all of the gratitude that you are deserved, this certificate serves as a token of heartfelt thankfulness for the job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
It won't be 55.
Yeah.
Just say which one.
Which one?
Okay, so we're looking at this one?
Yeah, our hammer right there.
Okay,
This
all right.
one, stand in front.
Right here.
Yeah.
So we gotta do this on camera.
Yeah.
Ever act before?
You
Act happy.
Okay.
I know you don't like politicians. I know you don't like speeches, so I'm not going to give a speech. But I will tell you, on behalf of the residents of Dauphin County, I want to thank you for giving your most prized personal treasure, your time, year after year after year, 24/7, 365 to the community. You were always there. The residents were in the time of greatest need. Back in 2011, during the deadly storms, you were one of the team that rescued people on their way to rescue people. We will never forget that. When Tom and I are at an event like this, or at home watching TV and that alarm goes off, or still at an event like this, or home watching TV, you and others like you are responding at a moment's notice to help those residents in their time of need. And it is an honor and a privilege to be here tonight on behalf of my colleagues, Chad Saylor and George Hartwick, and I'd like to present this proclamation into the record if I may.
Okay, yes.
We, the Dauphin County Board of Commissioners, take great pride and pleasure in joining the many friends, family members, community leaders, and residents of Middletown Borough in recognizing Tom Foreman on his 25-year anniversary as Emergency Management Coordinator for the borough. Whereas Tom is a trusted pillar of the Middletown community, assisting residents and businesses during emergencies such as flooding and winter weather events, as well as planning for 3 Mile Island preparation drills and events, always approaching tasks with community safety and well-being as top priorities. Whereas in his addition to the 25 years as Emergency Management Coordinator, Tom has served the residents and neighbors for over half a century in various positions as a member of the Middletown Fire Department. Whereas Tom joined the fire department in 1966, setting an example for his friends and family, an example his son Michael followed by joining his father as a volunteer member of the fire service. If that makes you extra proud.
Yes.
Whereas the epitome of a selfless public servant, Tom's generosity and caring extends to his home, where he raised 2 wonderful children, son Michael and daughter Kelly. Therefore, we join the 286,000 residents of Dauphin County in commending and congratulating Tom Foreman on his 55 years of service to Middletown Borough, including the past quarter century as Emergency Management Coordinator, which we celebrate today by proudly proclaiming February 1st, 2022 to be Tom Foreman Day in Dauphin County. Thank you very much. He's thanking us. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for the residents of the borough and the community around. So thanks, Tom.
I hope I have many more years.
Agree.
Next time we get it, it'll be a national holiday.
Yeah.
Tom, the Borough of Middletown, I believe Mayor Curry also has a proclamation.
Okay. I have to tell you, so over my past 8 years as mayor, we've been through, major power outages, plenty of snowstorms. EMI trainings. You are a person who makes everyone else's job easier. And so we can't express enough how grateful we are to have you. And I have a proclamation, although you kind of stole my thunder, Commissioner. But, so proclamation of the Borough of Middletown. Whereas Thomas E. Foreman was born and raised in Middletown, Pennsylvania, greatest town in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania. Whereas Thomas E. Foreman made Middletown his home and trusted grounds to raise a family. And whereas Thomas E. Foreman is an adoring father, grandfather, uncle, friend, and neighbor. And whereas Thomas E. Foreman has selflessly donated countless hours to his community through his service with the Middletown Volunteer Fire Department, Middletown Borough Communications Center, and of course, the Middletown Borough Emergency Management Agency. And whereas Thomas E. Foreman is the epitome of a dedicated and selfless citizen, and whereas it has been my personal honor to serve with Thomas E. Foreman over the past 8 years, and whereas today we, as a collective family, honor Thomas E. Foreman. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Mayor James H. Curry III, Mayor of the Borough of Middletown, County of Dauphin, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, hereby declare February 1st, 2022 as Thomas E. Foreman Day in the Borough of Middletown, and urge all members of our collective family to thank and honor Thomas E. Foreman for his years of exemplary service to the Borough of Middletown, dated in Middletown, Pennsylvania, this first day of February 2022. So.
And at this time, we'd also like to present you a plaque from the Borough of Middletown. Yes, plaque reads, "The Borough of Middletown is proud to recognize you for your exemplary dedication and services to the citizens. Thomas has served 55 years with the Middletown Volunteer Fire Department, 25 years as the major."
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we get the group of you guys together?
Hey, pictures, Michael.
Yep.
You ever put Ryan thought you everything you knew?
Awesome. Who was this now? Mike, way back when first started. To the training office.
Mike, come on up.
Yeah, let's get Mike in. Ken,
Look at one for it. Maybe get taller.
He's gonna be sitting back there with his face is kind of blocked.
Thanks, man. I'm not here to talk about t-shirts, but. Okay.
It's beautiful.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. Hey, big man, long time no see. Yeah, that's good. I got a dough this year. Nice. No trouble in Paris. Good. Areas ever. Mom's slowing down. She's on it. Yeah.
One last thing, everybody, there is going to be a cake to celebrate the occasion.
Moving on, I'd like to report on the executive session held January 18th, 2022 to discuss personnel, real estate, and potential litigation. At this time, I'd like public comment on agenda items. Seeing no public comment, agenda item number 1.
That's our meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve council meeting minutes for the January 18th, 2022 meeting as submitted?
So moved. Second.
And a motion by Councilor Middlebecker, second by Councilor Seitz. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 22, or agenda item number 2.
Approval of bills. Do I have a motion to approve payment of bills as shown on the accounts payable list, which is dated January 27th, 2022, and is for the period of January 14th, 2022 through January 27th, 2022, and to ratify approval of such bills already paid and to authorize the appropriate officials to take the required action to make those payments.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Seitz, second by Councilor Miller. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-1389, amending the police pension plan to allow for military buyback as per the arbitration?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Kuskevich, second by Councilor Seitz. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 4.
Do I have a motion to advertise ordinance 2022-1390, amending chapter 195 by limiting the use of lighted recreational areas and park hours?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilor Seitz, second by Councilor Kuskevich. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 5.
Do I have a motion to approve advertising for an athletics director at a salary of $14,920 and an assistant manager at a salary of $11,780 as seasonal employees at the mental health board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Kuskevich, second by Councilor Seitz. Any questions or comments?
Could you read the salary again, please?
The athletic director's salary is $14,920. The assistant manager is $11,780.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 6.
Electric trust fund transfer. Borough drafted a policy which establishes a process for the potential transfer of funds from the electric trust to the electric operator. Do I have, do I have a motion to adopt the electric trust fund distribution policy dated February 1st, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Kuskevich, second by Councilor Seitz. Any questions or comments? All in favor? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So at the meeting, at the last meeting, it said that the funds were going to be transferred from the electric trust to the electric fund. But this says the general operating fund, is that what the word is?
Probably electric operating fund.
So it's the electric, not that, because it doesn't state that. I was a little confused.
If you look at the last.
See where it says to the 2022 operating budget?
Right. With that comment, does anybody object to adding the word in the policy, electric operating budget, to make that more clear? Okay.
I have one more question, sorry. I just want to make sure I'm clear on what is happening in this. So through November of 2021, there was a shortage of $385,712.50. So what we're voting on is to allow Sally to, when the final number comes in, correct?
It would be the final number coming at the end of this year.
So the number for 2022, not 2021.
Correct.
So when would you have the number for 2022?
Well, we're gonna look at the November numbers because we still don't have December numbers. So we're gonna look at November numbers and extrapolate that out to see what the number is.
Okay,
And the indicator will be the average for the month. So if the average is .050, we're not going to do anything.
right, it has to be over that
Right.
.050.
Right.
So do you, and I don't know if you'll know this, have there been any other transfers out of the electric trust fund?
No.
Okay. My next question is, and I looked at this a little bit over the weekend because I was curious, because the electric trust fund was set up many years ago. What type of an account is the money in?
It's a fund account, like all of our other investment funds. But there's very specific criteria.
Yeah, I did
So-
see that, and it has to be like a, it can't be like a high risk fund,
It is
correct?
specific for keeping the electric rate to our residents down. So it has to be the cost of what we pay for electric. So these pass-through costs are costs related to what we pay. for
Right.
electric.
Right, so the point is that if that increases, then we would take money from there, so not to raise the residents.
Correct.
And this is just a one-time transfer for 2022. This isn't like a blanket approval for future years, correct?
I think we would have to come back to council to,
This policy is just for 2020.
Okay, so my next question is, if we don't know that amount, why are we voting to transfer the money now if we don't know what it's gonna be?
we're not transferring the money.
Or to give you the approval to transfer it now if we are only in February of 2022?
Well, we're asking for the approval to pass the,
Asking you to approve a policy.
yeah.
Right, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out is why are we
If
doing that now when we don't even know where we're gonna end at the end of the year?
But then it would be included in my request for fund transfers if it's appropriate,
Right.
like I do every year.
Right, yes, I understand that.
I think the policy was to clarify any confusion, because we were always trying to use the money for different things. Or
Now, the policy sets up a mechanism to follow, a procedure to follow if we decide to transfer. That's all it does. It doesn't give us the authority to move it without coming back. It sets up, here's the parameters for which we will be able to move it, and it will only be in the event that our wholesale electric cost rises above 5 cents per kilowatt hour on average for the year. That is because we see, and we adopted this policy because as last year we saw the deficit, we see the pass-through costs are rising. Not the generation cost, but the pass-through, which is the distribution and transmission cost. You get it here, are rising, and it put us in a deficit last year. We were able to cover that deficit last year because of just the bottom line balance that other expenses or revenues were there. But however, we expect that these pass-through costs are going to continue to rise above what we see now. So they've got a wholesale cost right now at 0.058 instead of 0.05.
this is not clear. I understand that. It was my understanding that the policy was to help set guidelines because there was a lot of confusion in the past on, oh, we use the trust fund like this and we use it for that. So isn't this policy supposed to set guidelines to?
It does set the guidelines, but the only
Because
reason.
there's no confusion.
Yeah, no confusion, but we've never, up until this year, have seen pass-through costs rise as quickly as they're rising. Just like you see at the grocery store and everywhere else, food costs are shooting up, and our community isn't growing that fast. So,
Well, and to your point, I understand that, but this clearly says 2022, not a policy going forward, which is what the trust fund has on its own, that it set very specific guidelines that you can only use it for that. So I think what I'm not understanding is that while I think this might be a good idea come the end of this year when we see what the numbers are, why are we giving this approval to do this now?
because we explained it at our workshop, and I felt like everybody had a good grasp of what we were trying to do, so to put a policy in place now that provides a mechanism for how to calculate that transfer if we decide to transfer. This doesn't say Sally's allowed to transfer, it's just a policy mechanism when we would be allowed to use it.
Yeah, that might make sense for the, looking at projections for budget and those kinds of things.
It does though say, in the last sentence will probably be clarified, it says that the director is authorized, and so probably should say the director may, upon vote of council, be authorized. So if we can, I can't read the parameters, but that last sentence does read that it almost sounds like you're authorized to transfer.
Yeah, it says
You are, but, you know, we have to know what that transfer is going to be at the end of the year. So, if you want to change the policy, if you don't want to adopt the policy till later in the year, that's fine.
I mean, you could have a policy so that the map could be, calculated and everybody's already set up, or this is the trigger,
Well, I'll let it to council.
So if you just put a comma, but so long as approved by the board.
Yeah, or where it says director is, it could just be director may, upon approval of council, be authorized to transfer.
Or we can table it, bring this back later. in the year.
Also, the date, to Councilor Lloyd's point, is should there not be a date, should it just be, this is the policy?
Because you can't hold a future council to a budgetary obligation to transfer. That's why it's on Thursday.
Mr. Wright, also to your point, there has been transfers
Late 2000s?
2012 roughly, and I think there's one maybe around 2007. But those transfers were questioned by councils that can behind those people who did those transfers. And criticized what the use was for. This policy is trying to clear that up to say that we're only going to transfer in order to prevent a retail rate increase to the public. That's a key part of the policy.
So,
And a mechanism for how you calculate.
So, going back, this is what I'm not, sorry for not comprehending this. We have very defined rules in the trust that we can use the money. So, if we were to take 2022 out of here and just have a policy, I don't understand why does 2022 have to be in here? It's pretty much saying that's what the trust can be used for anyways. You can't use the trust, we can't make a policy, you can use the trust to buy transformers. So I thought the policy was just to clean up specifically what the trust can and cannot use.
Well, and one thing that we do is, as you know, every 6 months or so, we're asked to go back over the trust for something. So we have determined as solicitors, you could do this under the trust. So you could have this policy to say, hey, it's approved by council and we documented it. That's what everybody's looking at if it exceeds the 0.05.
I think at our workshop, we had an explanation from Jim that it's permitted to do this.
Correct.
We just didn't have it in writing for you at the time. I think that even the last one with this.
I'm okay if we just add the comma like the mayor suggested and leave it like it is, or address the date that Councilor Lloyd was referring to. Are we gonna have to do this every year? We're gonna do the same policy,
Yeah,
2023, 2024, 2025?
Yeah.
I mean, if we just have a blanket policy, it's not like we can use the trust for 1,000 different things. It's not like we can have a trust policy for transformers or for wire or alignment. It can only be used for electric rate increases. Correct.
Now, there can be certain infrastructure things. Remember, we were talking about a point of connection to the wholesale, but not within the system. There could be other things,
Okay.
potentially.
If you want to do a solar generation project, potentially something like that.
Yeah, but it's theoretical that it has to be offsetting the wholesale price, for example, doing a substation within the system. We had to
So
split some of those.
I have a motion and second on the floor. Are you willing to amend your motion to add upon approval to council? Yes. Any other questions or comments? Go, sorry.
So, I'm sorry, then I don't really understand what the point of this is. If the trust fund clearly states that it's to be used for this purpose, what is the purpose of this paper then?
Well,
the purpose of the paper was to very explicitly say in this instance that it has to exceed 0.050. So in this particular instance, to use trust money for this pass-through cost, it has to exceed 0.050, which is what our rate is based on. So I think that that's why that was there, is to kind of, for this particular instance, to set parameters around that.
Yeah, I think it does a couple things. It does timing-wise, when you're starting to see an issue, so there's not a thing where it looks too disconnected from, we have issues about if you own a trust, sit on it, you can't go back, 3 years ago, we should have done this. So it is timing, kind of saying that's the intent. And then there is some ability to project budget-wise, because otherwise you might be saying, well, we got to raise the rates or whatever. So this is more of, here's the general game plan now, they're not locked into it.
And the trust doesn't set a baseline for what our actual wholesale rate is, say at this period of time. This sets that at 0.50. It says that's what we're paying at the end of last year, that's our baseline, that's how our budgets were set previously as far as what we were going to project as far as revenue. So we want to set that baseline in something because it's not in the trust. So it's in that 0.50 is policy as a baseline. So if it averages 0.6 at the end of the year through 12 months, we have that baseline we can subtract from 0.6 and say it's okay, it went up 1 cent a kilowatt. And we take that times the kilowatt usage for the year, and that's the total sum that you're going to then transfer from the trust to prevent from having to raise retail rates. If you should, so.
We'll take a loss.
Yeah, I mean, well, on the other, if you wanted to, you legally could lock in right now where you're saying, we're hereby authorizing, we don't know what the numbers are going to be. And it could have been an authorization to, we're now deciding to draw down on the trust in the future, but it's that 3 months from now.
I apologize, but I should have had this paper at the workshop. I didn't have this paper ready for you, and we just verbally described it. And now, putting it right, you get something to put your eyes on, and fingers on, and think about it more. So that's my fault.
No.
So that's why I say maybe if you want to look at it more, able to talk about it at our next workshop. It's not going to hurt.
We do have a motion and second on the floor. I do like the fact that you paper this, and it's really clear, because it's always been really vague in the past. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Kliskevich?
Yes.
Ms. Lloyd?
No.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Seitz?
Yes.
Mr. Strom?
Yes.
Ms. Willenbecker?
Yes.
Mr. Redding?
Yes, motion carries with 1 no. Agenda item number 7.
Do I have a motion to appoint Officer Joseph Smith to the Police Pension Board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Sykes, second by Councilor Lloyd. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 8.
Do I have a motion to appoint Officers Mark Laudenslager and Joseph Smith to the Investment Advisory Board?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilor Kliskevich, second by Councilor Sykes. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we're going to take a quick recess to for an executive session to discuss real estate. Discuss real estate. We will be out.
Thank you, Grace. That's a beautiful power. Thank you. How are you now?
Vice President is on the right hand side.
Going to the kitchen.
Hot dogs are on the other hand. Hey, you can have
No, they don't.
Takes things out and fire.
That's all for that.
When I was on council, my husband told me about it. I have a girl.
You know, it doesn't matter, that's all.
Tommy? I don't know.
Thank you.
That's for you. And then, are you, since you can get to the other side, can you give that to us?
Yeah, I'll give that
to
one more thought. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll walk out over now.
Did you want cake?
Yeah. No.
I'll check. I don't think you need my number.
It's great.
It's a combination.
I think it's like the Cherry Market of the Cherry City, up at the firehouse. It just goes around and collects stuff like that. Well, I'm on the plane. You gotta be going back to some old, signers. A lot of that stuff is from German. One of the ambulance of the squad. This flash up there.
Yeah, I was up just up at Burroughs the other day, and he put a picture of what's wrong with nursing truck.
Yes. Yeah. Some of the pencil, yeah. I like that one you sent me, the fire training and bandies. Picture on it. I saw that, I walked out the door and still, I saw him across the street right there. East Blooming, it's Stoughton's old place, across the street from me.
Okay.
Nothing very tough. Walmart, it's just got the language account. East Donegal Town, East Donegal Road. Building B, 1A East Donegal to Winship 309 West Elizabeth.
As long as it's not Middletown, because my kids sit never there right now.
Yeah, it's not. They're not on. Everything's fine. Except London, and they're even called Rescue 411 out of York. A lot of tankers. Tanker 10, 71, 74.
Wayne Valley, they have hiking.
How they go to New York? Through
Across the
That's so it goes from
He's winning the diligence with the sewer, we sold it. Look at that. Every time I drive by, communications, everyone. Reporting on the executive session, we talked about real estate. We have one action item. Ms. Wilson.
Mr. President, I move to amend the agenda to add an approval of an indemnification agreement related to the upcoming closing of the former Cox building purchased by William P. Corbett III as recommended by our solicitor. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Wilmette, seconded by Councilor Sykes. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
And then Grace will have to.
Motion carries.
And just around the agenda, take public comment.
I'm sorry?
So that's just changes the agenda. You take public comment on that new agenda.
Any public comment on the change?
Citizen Middleton, what exactly did you do? Yeah, so let me give the background on this. So the buyers raised a title objection that had to do with back when this thing was set up, 2014, a number of years ago. When you set up a condominium with an existing building, there should be what's called a certificate of completion for each unit. There was not for this unit. They raised a title objection, and the certificate, that's something that an engineer says, all the things that are in the declaration are supposed to be there are there. And unfortunately, although there had been some point in the past a sewer line coming through the pattern flag basement, sticking to the wall, the pattern flag had done some construction, disconnected it over the years. So at this point, we're not able to cure that title problem with the certificate of substantial completion by an engineer, because an engineer can't say it's sticking through the wall. So they're willing to close, and we don't have any time to resolve this because under the borough code, the state borough code, when we go out to bid like this and sell, we have to close within 60 days. So that's actually coming up on Monday. So title companies will often allow you to close and do an indemnification agreement to clean it up afterward. We had a quote, estimate, I think, looking at 9,600. So it's up to 15,000. It should be less than that eventually, but they have a cushion for the title company. We're going to escrow $15,000 to take care of that. Have the certificate of completion filed with the recorder deed after the close, like 8 weeks after.
Crystal clear, right?
Yep. Any other public comment on that agenda item? I guess I'm seeking a motion to formally.
And authorize to approve the indemnification agreement proposed by buyers.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the indemnity agreement for the time when we start recording for them.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Seitz, second by Councilor Willenbecker. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, do I have general public comment?
Dawn Roll, 123 State Street. First, question about Hoover Park. I think we all agreed when I was sitting up there that we were going to put cameras down there before we broke ground, because we're having issues with graffiti already on the mural, on the new painted equipment that's down there. Has there been any discussion about cameras before March?
Cameras are in the design specs for the project to install fobs at Borough Hall, police station, and so forth, some other places like Main Street Gym. So cameras are part of the FOB project that has not gone out to bid yet. But it does include camera. That project includes camera. So our plan is, if that doesn't get off the ground quick enough, to project to build the playground equipment gets out in front of the property too far. We will have to put some temporary type of cameras down there. Public Works is discussing temporary cameras that have cards that we can hang on poles. Permanent.
Second, I am here representing the Friends of the Middletown Community Pool. I would like to give council a brief update. Friends of the Middletown Community Pool is now a registered nonprofit 501c3. We are waiting for this to be completed prior to starting any kind of fundraising. We have obtained a PO box. We have also opened a bank account for the committee. This is just simply to let you know, give you an update because there was a statement asked what our updating status was.
Excellent, that's good news. I'm glad to hear that the committee's getting up. Any other public comment? Seeing none, do I have a motion to?
Mr. Reverend, I'd just like to bring up, and discuss police cameras and so forth, body cams and so forth. And see if we can bring that back to the forefront, maybe have a brief discussion on that at the February meeting. And I know we had a conversation about that. I think that all, you think we can bring that, have it bring that to the forefront in February?
Yeah, we could ask him. I think Sally has some information on some funds that we set aside, or Pennsylvania, for
I just think that it's very important given body cameras for the police department. I think it's very important. I thought it was very important prior to Public Safety Director Baldwin coming to have that. I really think it's very important, especially within some recent news articles and incidents in the surrounding area, that body cameras and so forth could help our police officers and help our citizens as well. And I just think we need to bring that back for a discussion in the February meeting and hopefully move on that shortly.
As far as the funds, we had earmarked way back $50,000 for body cameras. And I think it might even before Public Safety Director Baldwin came in. Chief Morris might have came in with some numbers that were well over 50,000 for what they need. So we'll have to have a discussion about that too. That differences.
Yeah, that 50,000 was not only for body worn, but it was in-car cameras and I think an evidence collection system. So 50,000 is not close to what they're going to need. But I think there's grants that they could probably secure.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea, especially in today's day and age. Council members, Mayor, anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? We will be going into executive session to discuss personnel, real estate, and potential litigation. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? We will not adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.